What's up everybody, and welcome to a new video. And in this video we're going to go over my notes for the activity bar in VS Code. So what is the activity bar? It's this vertical bar here on the left hand side, and it provides auxiliary functionality that you typically need when editing code. So by default those are the Explorer, Search, Source Control, Debugger and Extensions. And if you click here a symbol, then you can toggle this sidebar, and the sidebar here contains the respective views and or features of the functionality. So this is what the Explorer looks like, then Search, Source Control, Debugger and Extensions. And speaking of extensions, some extensions might add here additional functionality. So for example, I've installed here the Python extension, and if I open a Python file, so let's create a new file and then call this test.py. Now that I've opened this file, you can see now that here's a new functionality which is called testing. And those are already all the main points that I want to mention with respect to the activity bar. So now let's go over some side notes. And the first one is the accounts icon. So that is this one here at the bottom. And this simply provides functionality to sign in and out of various accounts. So for example, to backup and sync settings. So then the next side note is this manage icon. So this is here at the very bottom. And this simply provides some general functionality. For example, to open the command palette, the settings or keyboard shortcuts, to adjust themes or to check for updates. The next side note is that these icons here can display context-specific info. So for example, the Explorer can display how many unsaved files there are. So to show you that, let's simply write something in here. Now there's one unsaved file, and if you open this Python file again and also write something in here, now it says 2 unsaved files. So let's save that. Then it's just one. And here let's delete it again and then save it. And now it doesn't show anything anymore. And then the source control icon here can, for example, display the number of pending changes. So therefore I've prepared here this workspace. So here we have these 2 files. So let's add a 5 here and save that. Then it will show there's now 1 pending change. And if you go to file 2, let's do the same, save it. And then it shows there are 2 pending changes. So that's the source control icon. And then the debugger icon, this one can display the number of currently running debugging sessions. So for example, if we start a debugger for this file, then we can see there's 1 active session, and if we start a debugger also for this file, then now it says 2 sessions. Okay, so that was this side note. So now let's get to the last side note, which is the search within views functionality. So you can access that by clicking into a respective view. So for example, into the photo view of the Explorer, and then pressing Ctrl, Alt and F. So this opens here this window, and there you can type in what you're looking for. So for example, if I type in NO, then the results here are highlighted. And if they are within a folder, then there's here this number indicating how many files there are that match that criteria. So in this case, there's just 1. And then here you have these search options. So you can toggle the fuzzy match on. So you can toggle between fuzzy matching and exact matching. So if that's on, now there are 3 results in this folder, for example, because we have now the fuzzy match on. And if I turn this off again, and here the second search option is the filtering. So you can, if you turn the filter on, then only the files that match that search criteria are shown. And if it's toggled off, then those files are simply highlighted. So that's the first example where you can use this search within view functionality. Another place where I can do that is this outline view here. For example, if I then press again Ctrl Alt F, and here if I search for bar, for example, then we have here these 4 results, and if I turn the fuzzy match off, for example, then we only have these 3 results. So that's the second example. And a third example that I wanted to show is within the debugger. Therefore, I need to open another file. So this basic functionality file. And here let's simply start the debugger. And then here in the variables view, we can also use the search within the view functionality. So Ctrl Alt F. And here you can then search for expressions. So for example, if I search for element, then this one gets here highlighted. You can also search for values. So if I search for 3, then we have here this 3 and this 3. And as a side note here, I wanted to mention that this filter option here only applies to variables that don't contain, for example, such special variables. So to show you what I mean, let's search for the 9. So here's only this, the only match. And if I now toggle the filter on and off, then you can see that only this element variable gets filtered out, and not, for example, this list, even though there is also no 9 in there. Okay, so let's stop debugger. And those were the examples that I wanted to show with respect to the search within views functionality. And with that, now we've covered all the points that I wanted to cover. So we've reached the end of this video, and in the next video then we're gonna go over my notes for the Explorer. So thanks for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.